So Google just released a massive core update that has been not super widespread, but severe for some people. So some people have felt it immensely, and a whole bunch of other people just didn't feel anything. So one of my sites, one of the sites that we are working on, actually saw a ranking increase. So I actually just put it up right here on the corecode.com, and it just saw a spike. So let me go back into like 1 year when we basically started took over, and now we have a new spike, we have a new height. So I could share what we did to kind of right around here before the lead up, and if anyone's interested, I'll be sharing that. But otherwise, there are other people that have seen kind of the opposite, where like I've been doing research on the latest core update, and I know some people have been affected. So if ever you have been affected, let me know. I'm here to help. Now, in the chat, I'm going to be opening it up and asking for questions. That's going to be the best place to kind of ask questions. And we're going to be doing questions pretty much the entire time. I do have a few things that I'm just going to share, just because I think it's going to be general helpful tips for absolutely everyone. Things that I wrote down, things that I just wanted to mention recently in passing. So, okay, we have a website already, drop from page 1 to page 2. We're going to go in and take a look at that in just a moment. All right, cool. That's awesome. So let me go over my notes just so I don't miss anything. So I do have an example. I'll be showing you how to optimize and how I personally optimize pages and the new techniques that we have gone over. However, specifically, these are things that I wanted to highlight and mention to everyone. So recently, there's been a lot of volatility. So faster testing for user experience. So if anyone, okay, actually, I'm not going to load this up. Alguru, I think. Is it Alguru? Is this the, yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So what the metrics have had to do, what these people have had to do is kind of adjust their range, because we've been having a lot of fluctuation. And if I even go look up the SEO, the SEM sensor, SEM Rush, Google sensor, there you go. I think this one. We've been having really, like these guys have not adjusted yet. And we've been having incredibly high volatility in the past few months. Okay. So I think a lot of people have noticed this, and I actually covered this. I made a whole video training. But what it boils down to is volatility means the results on Google are shaking. It means they're going up, down, up, down, up, down. Things are bouncing around at a high rate. This is essentially what it means. Now, why would that be happening? And my theory, and this is starting to be proven, is that Google is testing faster for the user experience of sites. Google, because of all the influx of new content and the new recent updates, they are now testing the content at a faster rate than ever before. And they are split testing and making sure and saying, okay, how does this website perform in rank 2? How does this website perform in rank 6? How does this website perform on page 2, page 1? And back and forth, which is why we see this crazy fluctuation. Why would Google do that? Well, my theory, and this is kind of like the proposed thing, is that because we have such a big influx in content, it's like so many people are posting hundreds and hundreds of pages of content, Google needs to test at a faster rate for the user experience to determine if your content is low quality or high quality. So for instance, if they land on a page like this, right? So if they land on a page like this, I'm going to be showing more about this page later as an example. Will they read and consume this content? So your intro paragraph, actually, your headline is really important, and your intro paragraph is very important in order to hook people in. Are they going to be hooked when they land? So one of my, actually, this goes back a long way, but one of my tricks that I've split tested to help people stay on the page is to actually have an image that cuts off at the fold. And I've done this for a while now, but it's called my Ninja at the Fold image cutoff technique. And what this does is, in my testing, it performs better than having an image at the top. So I don't know if I could get it. Let me just try to see if I have an example here. Maybe this might have an example. Am I doing? No, I'm doing it here. I'm doing it. Okay, maybe some older things. I don't know. Yeah, no, we're doing it all over the place now. We've switched entirely, but we used to, like back in the day, let me kind of go back. Back in the day, the image wasn't over here. The image was right on top, right? So you'd have a big image, and then you would force people to kind of scroll down. What I noticed is that when you have an image that's kind of cut off, people are naturally curious and they naturally want to see the image. So they will start scrolling down just to see the rest of the image. Because you see, hopefully here, you can see the fire is cut off. People naturally want to kind of get the rest of the image just to see. And once they're doing that, if it's a really good image, then they are already scrolling. So once you have them scrolling, they're going to scroll through the rest of the article. It's just that initial scroll, that initial momentum, just to get them to go down the page just a bit, that will help you engage and lock people in. So that's just a really quick tip, hopefully that you might or might not be using right now to kind of get people to engage with your site even more. So even as advanced SEOs, I see on websites with a big banner image. And the other big thing as well, this kind of ties into this, is page speed insights. I don't have it saved. Anyways, so page speed insights, you will often find that you could have faster loading speed and higher page speed insight scores. Let's just do this one for fun. Not that this one is good or anything, but let's just do that. You're usually going to have a faster loading score if you don't have a giant image at the top. So that's kind of one of the things that we really focus on in order to grab people. And ultimately, this sounds like user experience stuff, but it leads to better rankings. Was it Fury, I think in the SEO Signal Labs, just yesterday said we fixed the user experience on our website and they saw a giant traffic increase. So I really believe that the August core update is looking at user experience even more than before, because there is so much crap, unfortunately, being published now. It's kind of like the truth where a lot of with the I will be I'll be answering questions with the coming of all these writers and everyone posting like hundreds and hundreds of pages. Google has to do something. They have to figure out how to weed out the bad and the good. So like, okay, here, this is a perfect example with the image on, see how you, okay, hopefully you can see this. It's kind of a little trick, another advanced trick. And I'm calling these advanced tricks because I know on this call right now, you probably have a whole bunch of advanced SEOs. People have been doing SEO for decades. So I want to give stuff for the for the newcomers, but also the advanced little tweaks for the people that have been doing SEO nonstop and run agencies for a decade that you might not be aware of or you might have overlooked. So here we want to get 100 on 100% score on the mobile. And one of the tricks is because I placed the image specifically kind of like over here, it doesn't interfere on the mobile. So we get an easier 100 out of 100 score. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get a 100 out of 100 score if you have an image at the top. This just makes it easier, right? So this is a kind of a little SEO trick hack that you could use, even for the advanced people that have been doing this for a long time. So here you can see, this is actually one of the more important things that you kind of want to address. We've actually recovered a website. This is the May 22 core update. So this is going back a year, but we had a problem with the cumulative layout shift. So if you do page speed insights by Google, this is super important, by the way. If you do page speed insights by Google and you have issues with your cumulative layout shift, and these numbers are in red, you absolutely have to fix this. Google is penalizing people way more than they should because of this. So if this is like, 0.8 or something and it's red, this is a kind of a big issue that I've seen. And as we fix this from 0.8 to 0, or anything that's green is fine, we saw a site recovery on one of the sites that we're working on. The next thing that I will recommend people do is, if you're in the orange, I'm going to say it's passable. So the Google, I think orange is from 50 to 70 or 50 to 80 or something like that. It's passable. You don't necessarily need to dive into it right away. As soon as it hits red, you have a major problem. This is like something you absolutely have to do. The other thing that this is a thing that we were doing very recently, is for the SEO score. I noticed that Google has long time said that they don't use the meta description for rankings. However, if you want to get 100 out of 100 SEO score, you need to have a meta description set. And recently, in the past week, we've been working on the Stealth AI importer plugin. So if you're not aware, we have, I'm jumping a lot of steps here, but we have the Stealth AI writer that allows you to create hundreds of articles at a time, right? So I could have a whole bunch of articles. Let me do, okay, cool. Let me just take this. We have a huge list of no, not huge. Okay, I have 4 articles here. So this is not a huge list, but I have 4 articles here. And then they have actually 3. So then they have images and they have all this type of stuff. And one of the things that you want to do if you're doing mass amount of content is, look, first of all, we have an importer. So I have the Stealth AI Writer importer that it will import all your articles in one go. And then we could go into the website and then we could import it all in one click. So I have the Stealth AI importer plugin. You click browse, and we're going to kind of import all the articles. So here I have these 3 articles. I could set them to any category I want, do the educational, and I could import into draft. Now, what we discovered in the past week, and I'm really trying to give you my latest info basically, is that when we were originally importing, we weren't importing a meta description, and we were not getting a 100 out of 100 or 98 score. So we just updated the importer in the past week so that it will have a meta description associated. So if you want to score as high as possible on, your Google website score, your web vitals, your performance, and everything that, you're going to want to have the a meta description set. Now, the way you could set a meta description, I have 2 little hacks for you. I am really jumping all over the place, but hopefully this is all useful. Is you could either use rank math, or we actually have Yoast that we use, and inside of those you're going to be able to set a meta description, and you can even set it for like site-wide. So I will dive back into this. I kind of want to, I think I've gone off the rails quite a bit. Hopefully this is useful, but I've gone really off the rails of what I want to talk about. And let me kind of dive back to here. Let me see. Is everyone following? Is everyone enjoying this? Give me a, let's go with a 2. Give me a 2 in chat if this is useful to you and you're learning something, or at least you're getting some benefit out of it. And it's stuff that, it's not boring cookie cutter stuff that you could just find on YouTube video. Okay, cool. 2 + 2. All right, this is good. This is good. All right, thanks. Well, thank you. This is good. All right, cool. So, cool. All right. Let's kind of dive into the next thing about the August core update 4. Holy crap, that's awesome. All right. So next thing that I discovered very recently is, the power of internal links. This is really good. Actually, one of the questions inside the question area of the Zoom says, will you be adding internal link capabilities or tools? And that's a great question by Israel. By the way, he's from, was it Ontario, I believe? Nice to see you. Yes, we will. And I'm actually working on a module right now for the Stealth Writer, and we're working on integrating internal linking. Now, the internal linking is super, super important because it's one of the distinctions between just publishing a page, not caring at all, and then really going in and tying everything together. The reason we haven't done it, because I'll give you some insider information, some juicy insider information. I worked for 2 months on internal linking back in February and March, and even into April, over 2 months working on internal linking. I have it working, but not to the degree where I am satisfied with the results. Because whenever we publish something, I want it to have 100% results. I don't publish something unless it's excellent. I don't publish something if I don't think it is going to be like the top of the top. And right now, I wasn't happy with the suggestions that were being done with the internal linking. Sometimes it didn't make sense, and it didn't, like, it would make an internal link, and it would make an internal link that was valid. It made the link worked, but it just didn't make like relevant sense enough, right? Sometimes, like for instance, in one of my test articles, we were talking about Tinder, and we were saying, hey, how to get more Tinder dates or something. And it would link to something about like the alternatives to Tinder. I was like, oh, but that's not really relevant. It's not exactly the meaning that we want in this specific instance. So that's why I'm working towards contextual internal links that make sense and that really tie in and embellish your website, rather than just stuffing links that are in there for the sake of stuffing internal links. So hopefully you can see the difference and the nuance in doing that. And right now, I'm actually working on it right now. I was working on it last night. So that is coming. But it's all, perfection or just really good quality sometimes takes like half a year to develop. So that is going to be kind of where we're at with that. Now, I now got sidetracked again. Holy crap. All right. So the power of internal links, one of the things post update, or one of the most powerful things to rank on Google these days, is really going to be internal links. So one of my strategies, actually, let me kind of go over one of my main strategies, and I have it written down. So I have a whole bunch of cool slides and things to share, but this has been my personal ranking strategy for over a decade. It's evolved, and now it's gotten faster, more efficient, and this is how I do it. So maybe you've seen this before, but this is a simplified version where you have your main money page at the top. So this is what you want to rank. This is going to be your $1 million page. This is where you get all your leads, all your money, your sales, whatever. If you want to rank this, and it's a highly competitive word, then what you're going to want to do is you want to have supporting content. Supporting content right here is going to be articles that are related to this, but not overlapping. So if this is, how to buy gold, here you won't write how to buy gold. You might have how to buy silver. You might have the value of gold. This might be, gold exchange markets and so forth. This is essentially supporting content, stuff that one of the ways to think about it is stuff that people would write about, search for before and after going to this page. What are people looking for before they go to this page? What are people looking for after they go to this page? Now, we can, of course, dive into semantics and, the topical authority. And this gets more, this is essentially, we want to have topically aligned content. And we do have modules to help you with this. However, as long as you're writing related content, then what you could do is have internal links that point back to this main page. And the reason we want to have that is because we want to funnel what we call, I guess in the SEO industry, juice or link juice or whatever. I know Google absolutely hates that term and it's not really accurate, but this transfers, link trust, link power essentially back to this page. And the reason you want to do that, and these internal links are usually way more trusted than just a whole bunch of external links pointing to this page. So how can I describe this? If you want to rank this, you are, of course, let me actually make a few more of these. You're, of course, going to have some direct links, right? So you're going to have a few direct links. This is one direct link. And by the way, we've done many tests. The biggest difference for page ranking is going to be between 0 links. So between having no links and having 1 link. So the first link always has the biggest impact. So if you don't have any links whatsoever, this is the best thing that you could do. Have 1 single link. Now, as soon as you have 2 links, it helps, but you get diminishing value. Then you have 3 links and you get diminishing value. 4 links, you get diminishing value. And then eventually between, after you go through a certain number of links, they don't really make a difference anymore. These external links are kind of like all tapped out, where whether you have 100 links or 101 links, it won't really make a difference. So the way you keep on powering up a page is not going to be through adding an extra external link, but it's through funneling the juice and the power from these guests, from external links into supporting content and then into your money page. And that's how you could funnel the most amount of power to your page. So this is why it works so well, is because this topically aligned content is giving so much power to your main page. So this is why, whenever you want to create links and you want to rank something really high on Google, make sure you have internal links. So actually, I could go back to our Onpage tool. We actually will tell you. So if I have, your target keyword here, you have your URL that you want to rank here, we're going to have suggestions at the complete bottom of the report. We're going to have linking with relevance recommendations. So these are going to be the most relevant pages on your website for your main term. So here I can see this is about cleaning a stone fireplace. I will scroll the way down, and you see all the clean sandstone fireplace, how to maintain the fireplace. This is a clean limestone fireplace. So these are all links that you want to make sure that you are linking from. So these are your internal links that you absolutely must have if you want to rank as high as possible. And on top of that, I'll show you a little secret. These actually come from Google, right? So this is the most relevant pages that you want to have, and you want to point them to this main target page. So every single time you have a report, we're going to tell you the best internal links to do. And there's another internal linking trick that I teach with predictive link building, but that's more in depth, and we don't need to go into that much detail right now. Next thing I kind of want to go over is watch out for over optimization. I just did a study a page this morning. Literally this morning, I was looking at someone who was having problems ranking a specific page, and they were using one of the cheaper writers. And I mean, I'm not going to dive into the cheap AI writers. There are tons and tons and tons of cheap AI writers out there, and I'd say almost all of them do a really bad job. The most common thing I see with cheap AI writers is that they're going to produce a super long table of content. So if ever you see an AI writer or just a page and it has a really, really, really long table of content, and then within that long table of content, they are just, filling out a few words per paragraph, that is a surefire sign that is a cheap AI writer. And the reason for that is because they don't really know how to write. They're basically just answering whatever's within that subheadline. So it's kind of like a cheap trick to make it look nice, but it doesn't engage users. So I've been seeing a lot of users, those sites start ranking, and then after a few months, when Google figures out that the users are not actually enjoying and reading these pages to their full extent, because when you have 40 subheadlines, it's really difficult to read that. As a user, it's very, very difficult to kind of consume a full page like that. People are bouncing off, and then those websites are crashing, and those pages are not doing so well. Anyways, that is going to be one, completely side there. You want to get a happy medium for your table of content. You don't want your table of content to be like 30 articles or 40 subheadlines long. You want it to be reasonable. Usually between 4 and 12 subheadlines is going to be a good range, right? We can actually see it. Yeah, here we tell you, look, the average H2s here is 5, and average H3s is going to be 5.9, and H4s. If you add all of these up, you're around like 12, 14 or so, right? So in terms of subheadlines, this is kind of where you want to be. You don't want to have absolutely crazy numbers. The reason, and the other big reason, and I've seen this so many times, especially after the August core update, is we have an over-optimization module. So over-optimization protection right here. It'll show you if you might be going too far. Actually, I'm going to try to find an example that they might be going too far. Let me load this one up. Does this one have? Yeah, there you go. This is perfect. So this is like an example of what you might see. And a lot of the cheaper AI writers that you've seen out there will run into this problem a lot, because they create a huge table of content and they keep on repeating the same term over and over and over again inside the table of content. So here, you could actually see here. Let me highlight this. So when I hover over, it'll show you what could potentially be over-optimized. So here we can see that these people are using best protein powder over and over and over and over and over in every single subheadline. And even though at first this is like, if you do it a few times, it's good. It gives relevance. But eventually Google says, oh, you're trying way too hard to rank for protein powder. You're just mentioning it over and over and over again, and that's all you're mentioning in every single subheadline. And then the opposite happens. You actually lose a few points of rankings instead of gaining them. Now, please hear me out. You're not going to not rank at all. Like, these over-optimization things are not going to 100% prevent you from ranking in most cases, but Google has a score. They have a range. They have a range of score, and the higher you score, the higher the higher you score, the higher you rank on Google. So this is a range, and this will lower your range. This will lower your score of what you could potentially rank. So this happens in every single scan that you do. You're also going to get an over-optimization protection. Actually, not every single scan. If we scan the home page, you won't get it, and some pages we won't provide an over-optimization protection because we're not confident on the results. But if we scan the page and it is just kind of an article page, we will give you the over-optimization protection module, and you'll be able to see. We've actually had some agencies that have a whole bunch of workers. They'll have 10 workers, and they often use this because advanced SEOs are usually it's funny, actually. Advanced SEOs are actually they make this mistake often because they're just used to doing SEO. The intermediate SEOs are actually really good at this. So the intermediate SEOs pay attention to this, and they try not to optimize. And then the newcomers, the people that haven't done SEO very often, will often go and over optimize. So there's really a funny middle ground where the newcomers are doing it and the really advanced people are doing it, and the people in the middle, just in my experience, I could be wrong here, but like, are the people in the middle, kind of like the intermediate advanced people, are not doing it so much. So we have over optimization protection if ever you need. Now, so basically what I was saying is a lot of the cheap AI writers will have huge table of contents, and those huge table of content will repeat the words over and over and over again. And then you're going to struggle to rank, and you're going to wonder why. And that's one of the main reasons, because when they're creating the outline, they're like, oh, well, how do you do the best protein, best protein, best protein? And they just keep on repeating the same word. So let me just make sure we're doing okay in chat. All right, cool. Oh my God, we're getting a lot of questions here. All right, yes. Okay, cool. So, okay, wow. All right, yeah, I'm gonna dive into the questions. I'm just trying to give general things that I think could absolutely help everyone right here. So now, and especially after the August core update, because the August core update just released, right? So it affects everyone. Now, let me just dive into the last two things that I have for the August core update specifically, and I will dive into questions, and we're going to go over examples and all that stuff. Plus, I got to take a little sip of water here, so hopefully, just give me a second. Okay, so the next, or actually, yeah, I mean, just dive into the next thing I want to mention is that in terms of optimizing, Google usually takes about 3 weeks after optimizing to recalculate things using their AI. So Google has two indexes. Let me kind of go over it and show you an example. So this is how we would optimize the page. We have our target. Actually, let me go clear. Let me show you. So we have our keywords. So you enter in whatever you want to write. So I'll do cleaning a stone fireplace, and then you put in your URL that you want to clean up. So cleaning stone fireplace. This is how you would enter. You click submit, then you go. I'm just going to load it because I literally just did this. And then you're going to get a report on the word recommendations. Now, word recommendations, we help you optimize on 3 different layers. These are using Google's own AI, so Google's NLP, to return all the most relevant entities. We have the highly related words. This is essentially our own AI that will, we look at the relationship between the words, and we try to give you the closest related, semantically related word to your main target. And we also help you optimize using Google categorization. So you want to make sure that you're on the same categories. Now, what I usually recommend people do is they have your score here about the bar, and you want to make sure your bar is higher than the highest bar. So here we're over here. We want to make sure we increase it to kind of over here to get the best rankings. And what ultimately this means, in very simple terms, is we are making this page more relevant for the query. So we're improving the relevance for cleaning a stone fireplace. We're just improving how relevant the page is in the eyes of search engines, in the eyes of Google. And what I usually do, just as a starter, is I will tell people, hey, to see the words in red, those are not on your page. I usually add the first 4 rows of words in red. And the number beside, people always ask, is the importance level. So it's not how many times you should add it, it's the importance level. So this is level importance 7 compared to, let's say 3, which is not super important. So this is not as important. I would usually add, up to 5 or so. Now, if ever you do want a cohort analysis, I'll show you this. It's actually really cool. If you want to know exactly how often your competitors are using a word, you could use this graph, and you could hover over it. It'll say, okay, cool, your competitor is using it 8 times in this. You can match them exactly. But what I would usually do is when you have your word recommendations here, I usually say, okay, cool, you want to add these words. So like teaspoon, you don't want to add hearth, tarp, limestone, area, sponge, and so forth. And we actually have an auto optimize module. So let me send it to the editor. I'm clicking here, send to editor. And now we have our article inside the editor. So what you could do is you could start adding the terms manually. So here I could just write teaspoon, and then it'll turn green, right? So I could write hearth, and it'll whoops, spell it properly, then it'll turn green. And as you do that, you're going to get your score increasing on the left-hand side. Now, we even have, and this is kind of a cool trick, where we have the auto optimize module, where you click here and you start adding terms just by clicking on them. And then you can say, okay, go. And I could even add a custom word. I'm going to add my name, see if it adds it. Now, it won't necessarily add everything, but it will do its best to fit everything contextually. And then it'll rewrite the article, fitting it in the best possible place. So this is essentially one way to kind of optimize your content and get it ranking higher. I love the auto optimize. It's actually one of my favorite features. However, if it's only 1 or 2 words, you're just recrafting things. Sometimes just doing it manually doesn't take that long either, right? So this takes about 45 seconds because we got to read. The AI essentially reads, understands, and kind of breaks down your entire article to better fit this in. in a natural sounding way, because we don't want to just enter these words and have them, screw up your article. We want it to make your article better, and we want to improve your article. So now we can see the score is 71. Once it finishes, it's going to ding, and it's going to hopefully, go up from 71 to maybe like, I don't know, 76 or so. I just added a few words. I didn't add that many. And you could also work on a new project as it's doing it. So it usually takes 2-3 minutes, and I click start new project. But right now I'm just actually going to go and look at questions, just to, as it's working here. So, all right, cool. Actually, we're done. Okay. So let me just do this, and I'm going to go into questions. I promise. Here we see we actually went up to 87, from 71 to 87, and I didn't have to write a single term. It's really cool. And I could just highlight this, and I can highlight the words. So I told it to use Eric Lanchus, my name, and then it just basically added here. Eric Lanchus, a renowned homesteading expert, shares his tips. Here, limestone that we added, teaspoon, or trisodium phosphate. Oh, shit. Sponge. And essentially it optimized the article for us without me having to do a single thing. So I think it's really cool. We're actually, I think, the only ones in the world that do this. And anyways, yeah. So now let me dive into questions. I think, oh yeah, okay, cool. So after you update the page, after you kind of optimize and update the page, usually you want to wait about 3 weeks to for Google to have time to see results. Usually between 3 weeks and 4 weeks is when Google will recrawl and recalculate things using AI. And the same goes for updates. After the August core update, if you make changes now, you're going to need to wait 3-4 weeks for Google to notice the changes. So if anyone's struggling with recovery, I recommend do the changes, but then you're going to need to wait. And the final thing I want to mention is that Google is still putting an emphasis on link building, and we actually help you link build with Onpage. But link building and links are still important. All right, cool. Now let's go with questions. I'm all kind of like, I will dive into more detailed stuff. Hopefully this has all been useful. I've kind of had general stuff for just to pick people up. Someone asked, is this being recorded? I do record everything. However, whenever I throw personalized things, if I dive into too many details, sometimes I don't post the recordings. So this is really like, because you're on the call, you're getting all the juicy details, and I'm going to dive into your situation, help you out as much as possible. So now, wow, there's been a lot of, I've missed out on the chat. There's been a lot of questions asked and a lot of stuff. So let me try to answer things as quickly as possible, or as thoroughly as possible. I want to make sure that if I'm answering something, it's giving you value. So Roger asks, for internal linking, is it best to do exact match on all the pages or variations? Oh, that's such a good question. This is amazing. Okay, cool. This is actually, yes, there has been a case study done on this, and this is really going to be useful and very, very important. So here, when we are looking at the internal linking, so let me kind of go back. We have 1 internal link, 2 internal links, 3 internal links. Let's say this is buy gold, right? So buy gold. What you want to do is with every single internal link, you want to vary it. You want the anchor text to be relevant, but you want it to vary as you go. So this internal link, let me go here. Let me try to select this. Oh, cool. So this could be, you could maybe have 1 internal link that says buy gold, but the next one, you don't want it to say buy gold again. You want it to say something else. You want to say, so that's slightly different. So this could be buying gold, buying gold. This could be purchasing gold, purchasing metal or metals, or purchasing, gold. And you could even have another anchor text or another internal anchor text that just says gold. Gold right here. Right. So this could be this. You kind of have another link coming from somewhere. I hope, my designs are not going to win any awards, but hopefully you could see that this is the anchor text that you are linking to with the pages. And the case study that was done, this was over 1,000 pages, realized that when you varied the anchor text, you actually got more benefit than if you just had the same thing over and over again. So this is going to perform better than if you just have goal. Like if you just have this will almost count as 1 link. Google won't give you as much benefit if you just do this. So this is not the correct way of, it is a way, it's better than nothing, but this is not the way you want it. If you want the best rankings, you're going to want to have varied anchor text. And on top of that, the ideal place for those links is going to be within content. So here, this is actually a really good example. I have a link within the content linking to this page. So cleaning and maintaining a sandstone fireplace. surfaces, this is going to give you a lot more power than, for instance, if you just have it in the footer or the header or whatever. If you just put it in the footer and you have a site-wide link like that, that will not help you rank nearly as much as if you have it within the article and as a contextual link that points to the page. And on top of that, let me show you another secret, is that we've actually tested irrelevant links, and that actually lowered ranking. So if I said, instead of, if this is buy gold and I link, if you only have one link, by the way, this is actually a really, this is a very advanced test. Okay. So let me kind of, I'll give you the results of a very advanced test. This is for the advanced SEOs in the house. This, if you have one link that says click, right? If you only have one single link, internal link, this is going to rank, this is going to give you some benefit, right? So you're going to get benefit from this because you have one link, which is better than no links. But if you have a whole bunch of links, and this just says, let's say Viagra, right? This is Viagra, and got a whole bunch of Viagra. This will actually lower the ranking of this because it is going to lower the relevance of this page. So when you have one link, one internal link is better than no internal links. So one internal link, even if it's irrelevant, is better than zero. But when you start having too much irrelevant links pointing to your page, you're going to lower your relevance and lose rankings, which is crazy. That blew my mind because I was like, oh, well, it's more links, right? But this actually lowers your ranking, your relevance. So Google does pay attention to this. So the optimal, I kind of go back to the way, the optimal way of ranking, here, there you go, is to have varied internal anchor text. And this will actually apply very similarly to the external links. So, external links and all that. But with external links, what you want to do is you want to be careful to not over optimize the anchor text. You still want relevant anchor text, but you want to be careful not to over optimize anchor text. That will run into issues. So let's say if you have a whole bunch of Viagra things, that one won't make a difference, but too many can definitely impact rankings. So hopefully this is, I don't know, I don't see how this could not be useful to people. This is something, this is like a very important stuff, and I use it every single day to rank higher, right? So the anchor text relevance has been very useful for me, especially when I'm doing interlinking. Okay, so like Israel asks, where do I put guest posts that are written? Where do I put guest posts that are written with the on-page AI content? I'm not entirely sure if you mean where am I posting my website? Like, where am I getting my guest posts? Like, I have, we use here, I'm going to show you, this is kind of one of my link brokers. And he gives me a whole bunch of sites I could get guest posts from, and I could just go and pick and choose. And I usually filter this out. Like, I'll take these sites and I'll filter them out using predictive link building right here, where I put in the URLs and I kind of filter out for relevance. So maybe that's what you're asking. If you're asking how I do my guest posts, I don't really have time to dive into the full guest post thing, but I do have, if anyone wants to see that, by the way, in the help section, I do have predictive link building. I have a video here that actually dives into that. So here you could go to this help.onpage.ai, and I have video here that dives into my process for link building, and anyone could go see this. So, but I'm not sure that's what you're asking, but if it is, then hopefully that answers it. All right, cool. So now let me go Charlotte, ask, how do we find exactly why we're no longer top 3 since the March core update? We've optimized to 97, but we're nowhere near the top rankings. Oh yeah, that's a great question. So, one of the things I want to mention, especially with ranking in general, is as I'm sure a whole bunch of people know, there's a whole bunch of ranking factors, thousands of ranking factors on Google. And one of the great quotes that I've heard, I think it's from Matt, it says, do all the things, right? You want to do all the things because Google has a score, and Google's going to have a long scoring mechanism where they're going to do on-page stuff plus link stuff, link score, plus domain score, plus speed score, plus user experience, whatever score, whatever. And then eventually at the end of all of this, you get a number, right? So you're going to get, I don't know, 87 or so. So what you want to do, and link score could also be broken down, like external links, internal, could be citations, And then this kind of breaks down even more. And then Onpage, there's a whole bunch of breakdown. You break down the Google equation to many parts. And then if you have all else being equal, so if all this entire other part, like all the other stuff that has nothing to do with the on page is equal, let's say you only have on page, then the higher relevance that you have, the more entities that are relevant to your subject are on the page. And, this is also an equation on depending on how long your content is. So the higher your relevance score, all else being equal, usually you will rank higher. However, because there are so many other things, this is why we want to help you with everything. You're going to want to, there's more things affecting rankings. So whenever I am working on, if it says since the March core update, I like to look up the updates and see what changed during the specific update. I'm a big user experience guy. I always recommend diving into that. But there's a whole bunch of things. You got to look at links. You got to look at your domain. You got to look at the speed. Like do the page speed insights. See, make sure you're getting if everything is in green. Then after that, there's also trimming the fat. You want to make sure you don't have too much overlapping content, like kind of keyword cannibalization with your content. There's a whole bunch of things. It's a kind of a big questions of like, hey, we're no longer ranking since the March core update. What do we do? It is going to usually be one of these things. Actually, you could even screenshot this or if you want. I mean, I just drew this out quickly, but these are the main things. These are our main levers inside Google, where usually it's going to be either within on page. It's going to be usually something to do with your links. It's usually going to be something to do with the domain. So this I usually call trust. I'll do topical authority. Although topical authority does bleed into the links. So if you could get topical authority flow through links. So if let's say a relevant links to you, it will, anyways, and then finally speed and then user experience, all of this. And then you have to watch out for penalties, right? So Google also has penalties. So minus whatever your score is, minus penalties, and you have over optimization, you have thin content, you have tons of things that Google will penalize and just knock points off. So you kind of have to have the good, and then you have to watch out for the bad. So if you want, this is my really, really quick and rough way of like looking at things. I often do site audits where I'll dive in and I look at all of these things individually and figure out, okay, which of these big levers most likely has an issue. And even another thing is, so these days I'm actually looking at AI content. I know Google says that AI content is okay, and it is. Obviously, we have AI content ranking, but sometimes I just did this morning and filter, detected, and then here we have a whole bunch of stuff that is detected, right? So you want to make sure that at least Google is not finding a high ratio. Now, if you have a medium ratio, that's fine, right? Like a few, even The Verge sometimes has stuff. It's normal to have AI content somewhere in there, but you want to make sure that your ratio is not too high. You don't have too much of it. So that there's a whole bunch of stuff at work. Hopefully that kind of helps people out. I'm answering the queue. Oh my God, I'm outnumbered here by the amount of questions and stuff, but let me kind of keep on going as many as I can, right? So how important is the usefulness, value, engaging nature of the content versus just getting the entities in the relevant content in a kind of a bland and useless content? All right, this is a great question. And let me kind of try to answer that. Man, you guys have such good questions. So the question is essentially, let me go send editor. So what is the important, like, is it more important for this stuff to read better and be engaging, or is it just, do you just need to have the entities? Now, in standalone tests, you just need to have the entities. At first, between 1 and 3 weeks or 1 in a month, you just need to have the entities. Google, it won't have time to measure the user experience. They won't have time to do all this stuff. Actually, let me show you the coolest thing. And guys, this is kind of the secret stuff that you get on the calls. So I wonder if it should still be up somewhere. Pros and cons of dating me. I think it's this, right? We're going to have to go look. So as soon as the first time I did this, I actually set up a test page because I test things all the time. This page was ranking number 1. I actually ranked number 1. But once Google found out that I was doing trickery and hackeries thing and screwing things up, then it demoted the page. So if I could find it, okay, cool. It is still ranking. So hopefully you can see this page is still ranking right here, right? And this page originally, when I set out the test, it ranked #1 on Google for pros and cons of dating me. So this is a real term. Like people type this in, day out. Now, you could see, it's almost a joke here. You could see check this out. You could see inside the meta description what type of stuff I was doing here. I was being a naughty SEO. So if I click here and I open up the page, I left it just to show you kind of like the power of user relevance versus power of entities. So here we have the power of entities at work, right? So here I have entities inside the text and I have zeros. So it's gibberish. This is literally gibberish. This means nothing. Look, this is not even an image. This is just zeros and words, right? So entities and zeros. So this is the crazy stuff that you do when you get bored as an SEO, is you just start doing all these tests and figuring out the weaknesses in Google and how you could take advantage to rank really high. So at first, just by putting just entities, like, so essentially your question where you're like, oh, well, and by the way, which entities did I put? Well, obviously I just did the keyword. I searched for it using Onpage. So let me kind of go over, I put in the way I did it. I did pros and cons of dating me. And then it gave me a report and I put in all those words, right? So that's how I came up with the page. And I just kind of put the page in, and I just had this, right? So, and it appeared at #1. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So, but what happened then after is that Google started sending people to this page. After a while, Google started sending people to the page. And let me tell you, people didn't really like the page, right? This is not the most user-friendly page. So now, because of that, the page has gone, it's still high up, but it used to be #1, and then it went down to, what are we, like page 2 or so? 3. So now it went down to page 2 because of the user experience. So I think this is a perfect example of power of brute SEO versus the user experience, having an actually engaging page. And the other, like, I have so many examples, like second date ideas in Montreal, I think. Let me, is this okay? Cool. Yeah. So this is okay. Cool. Yeah. We're doing a whole bunch of tests just to make sure and see how people are reacting to certain content. So this is kind of another one where I recommend people don't do this, because this is keyword cannibalization, where we're writing on a whole bunch, like same different articles over and over again on the same page. So this will be a case study for later, where I'm going to be sharing what ranks best in terms of in terms of optimization and so forth. So anyways, we're doing a whole bunch of tests. That's actually one of the difference. If ever you're using, depending on which tools you're using, I'm constantly testing this stuff through the ground and through putting it through the paces, so that the stuff you get here is tried, true, tested, proven tools, instead of things that just look nice. So yeah. So anyways, I essentially copy pasted the top words here. I created that page by doing that. And at first it ranked #1, and then it went down as the user experience kicked in. So hopefully that kind of goes and answers the question. All right, cool. So hopefully this is enjoyable, right? So I'm sure I'm missing a few questions, but hopefully at least even when I'm answering something else, it's kind of enjoyable. Okay, Israel asked, how do I find a link broker? The best way usually going to be on Facebook groups. Link brokers are like, they don't want to be too out in the open. And if they're too out in the open, that's bad. Like, you don't want link brokers emailing Google, offering Google links, right? Because then Google says, hey, what are your links, right? So you want some that are slightly harder to find, because those are going to have a private lists of websites, and those are usually going to be their best bets. So that I could dive into more in depth. We talk about, am I going to be doing live examples? Oh my God. Okay, cool. Let's dive into one example. Let's do one single example here. All right, cool. So here, one of my money pages here, close-up magician. Okay, let's do one single example. I mean, this could be good. I will show people how I kind of dive into this. So the first thing I want to do is I look at this page. Okay, I'm gonna kind of dive in and do a proper thing. So Okay, so the first thing I do, I just get an idea for the page whenever I'm diving into a page, and I want to see, okay, is it ranking? Is it not? What's happening? So I will look up at the title, look at the title tag. So the first thing I will do, let me load up the title tag, title. Oh my God. Okay, so you're using some sort of optimization software to make my life a little harder. Let me move my bar. Title. Okay, so this is your title tag. I'm gonna make it bigger so everyone can see. So close-up magician. So you are essentially, yeah, close-up magician, Roger Lepin. And I guess you're going for the term close-up magician. This is okay. But you are mentioning this close-up twice. That's okay. It's written slightly different. Yeah, magician. This title tag could definitely be optimized. Usually I like to use the word only once. And because there is going to be a whole bunch, you essentially have a very limited space on your title tag. So repeat, this is essentially, I don't like using brackets. I usually like to have natural titles. And I will try to use related entities. So let's say I'm going for close-up magician. Let me actually go here. Let me run an on-page scan here. So let me go here. Close up magician, and I'll do UK, right? So the way I typically will structure title tags is usually I will try to use the most, I'll use almost the exact match anchor text or title or whatever keyword I'm going for. Not exactly, but usually very, very close. And then I'm going to try to put in as many related terms as I can within the title in a natural sounding way. So we'll see. Okay, cool. So here, in terms of the related entities, I could actually make this a bit bigger. I have magician, I have magic, I have events, I have party, I have guests, I have wedding. So these are all terms that you might want to have. You definitely have magician and magic, which is amazing. I have event. Do we have event? So, okay. So close-up magician, Roger Lapin, available for magic events would be a magic events in the UK could be really good, right? So this could be a better title just for that. And actually, let me put it through page speed insights. So that's going to be another thing I'm going to check. So page speed insights as well. And then we're actually going to put it into Href. We have a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to put in here. Okay, so right here, as soon as I put it into Href, one of the things I'm going to recommend right off the bat is just direct links. So we can see you have 3 backlinks here, and that's just not enough. That's the first thing I'm always going to recommend people work on. And on top of that, they're all no follow. So if you have at least one do follow link, that is definitely going to be beneficial to you essentially. And also they're coming from one or two kind of websites right here where you essentially have you basically have one link or so, and it is no follow. So that's definitely something I would look into. Definitely have some links pointing to there. And let's go take a look at page speed insights. Oh, this is another like easy place that you could definitely get some gains. So here it says failed, and your largest content painful is 7.6 seconds, which is huge. And your performance is 30. So even without knowing your website, at the beginning of this call, I was talking about how this was a super important number for Google. And here you even have the cumulative layout shift that I said if it was in red, Google's going to struggle to rank you. So this is the kind of like the first place I would look for. Just fix this, especially, and this, improve the title, build a few links, and then just doing those things. Honestly, we didn't even have time to go over the on page, but just doing those things will drastically help you with the rankings. So, I can actually see you have a whole bunch of, you're doing good in terms of relevance. So this is why I kind of bring it back to the kind of like a rough equation where your on page is already relevant enough. Let's just put it that way. I mean, you could always improve, you always have a few words you could add extra, but is this really going to make or break you? No, this is really not, once you already have a high relevance like this, you're good, you're gone. But then you got to go on to the other things. So like speed score, that's actually a huge one where people are just not going to, when the page loads, you're going to bounce off. User experience, I could, could kind of guesstimate. The user experience looks like it would be a decent page. Like I look like I would scroll down, I'd go through, and this is a user experience. You should be fine on that regard. So it's really the other factors. So hopefully that, I don't have time to dive into one specific example for super, super long, but just those things. This is kind of how I look at a website right off the, like really quickly. And this is kind of how I believe you could definitely help you. So, all right, wow. So let's go in term questions. All right, cool. Do I do press releases or cloud size or just guest posts? All right. So Patrick asked, do I do press releases? Yes, press releases are awesome. I have a whole training recently. I'm actually probably going to publish this training on press releases that could definitely give you power. But press releases, there are two different types of press releases. They're press releases that you do just to get indexed and for Google to notice your website being in the news. And there are press releases that you could do to get journalists to write about you. So if you want a whole bunch of links, you want to get really good press releases that journalists are then going to write about you. And then you're going to get a whole bunch of links pointing to that page. I actually have a link technique that I call the patent link technique that I've been using recently. And I get links through that. I don't have time to dive into that specifically right now. Actually, let me show you. Actually, we just did it. So a blog.onpage.ai. And I did this as a demo. This took me about 30 minutes or 40 minutes to put together. And essentially, I put in a new search engine. You can see this post right here. So new search engine study from Hamburg University reveals users might be tricked by Google results. So the way I did this is I found the research paper. So I went to scholar.google.com. And here I typed in search engine optimization. And here I typed in, I think it was 2013 or so, or 2022. And then I found papers and findings on search engine optimization. Out of that, I created this article. And inside I have all these graphs and all this stuff. And, I have these cool quotes that I put. And I actually used AI to create these. So this got really, really quick. This was really, really quick to put together. So, and then what I did is I went to tell people about this. Now you could actually put out a press release about this. And then journalists are going to be like, wow, this could make a really good news story. And then they link back to here and you'll get a whole bunch of links and a whole bunch of power. And, life will be good for you and your website. You're going to, run your way to the bank. So no guarantees on that. I'm just kind of like half joking, but essentially that is going to be the process. And that's one of the reasons why I do press releases. Otherwise, one of the things that's inside the Google algorithm patents is that Google notices when you are in the news and when you are not. So if you're about to go on a big link campaign, you want to build a whole bunch of links to a website, it is good as if it's Google notices it's in the news, it makes the links look more natural. All right, so let me kind of go over a few more questions just to make sure that I'm kind of going, because I was answering questions from the Q&A section, but I haven't had time to go into chat too much. All right, so what do we have here? Okay. Now let's type into. Okay, let's start here. John asked, how often does my program get updates on our website? If we post 10 new blog posts at a time, will we find them for links? In other words, is our site scanned regularly? Yeah, every single time you do a scan, you get updated results. So every time we do a scan like this, we crawl this specific page, and we also crawl all the top ranking pages. I got to even expand this. You can see all the relevance of all the top pages. So this is all brand new. And what we do is we actually use, I could even expand this, we use Google's own AI to get all the newest top entities, right, for all these terms. So every single time you're scanning, you're getting the fresh new results, highly related words. Everything is fresh, everything is new. So as Google does updates, as Google updates their core algorithm, you're getting the newest results. And you're getting to see how the search landscape changes. Because as Google, changes, we want to stay up to date. So, all right, cool. How do I make sure the links are not over optimized and pulling the ranks down of your page? Is there a tool to find info for this? Yeah. The best way to kind of make sure that your links are not over optimized is usually going to be, man, there's a lot of stuff on linking. I could go on over linking for a long time, but Ahrefs is the one I use, or SEMrush. Those are going to be the ones that those are the main link tools that pretty much everyone uses. And now, even though I run Onpage, I still use this in combination. In fact, I use two tools in my SEO toolkit. I use Onpage, AI, and I use Ahrefs. Those are my main two tools that I use. And whenever I'm looking, you can actually go in anchors and it'll tell you, how often, how many anchors are you using. So here we can see that we're using Magician London quite a lot. Like 16% of the links are this. This might be too much. This might be slightly over optimized on Magician London, right? So you want to have quite a varied amount of anchor text. Now, hopefully, Roger, I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just happen to be here. I'll use it like a different example website here. You could even see, this is actually perfect. You can actually see if you're being spammed or not, or just junk's coming in. But what you want to do is you want to keep your anchor text to a low percentage overall. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. Usually Google is very good at ignoring links that it doesn't think are relevant, and that will be it. So let me kind of go over. Is everyone good so far? Okay, cool, perfect. Mike says, hey, you just missed the you got here a bit late. I get you. I will try to get a replay out as much as I can. And kind of like the reason I explained this is because sometimes I don't know how I'm going to be feeling. So if I'm feeling really good, energetic, I will go out and help as many people as I can with SEO. And sometimes I'm just, I I miss out. Yeah, I will send a replay because I think the first 45 minutes is actually, it is really good. Like I've been sharing a lot of stuff that I think is going to help everyone after the August core update, even though I'm still doing work on the August core update. So does my software help with creating topical keywords to target? For example, mold remediation? Yes, it does. So here's kind of one of the things let me actually do the example here. So let me do this. Let me do mold remediation. We'll do that. We'll do USA. I'll just do that. So if I go back to my example right here, one of the best things that you want to do, if you want to rank, okay, so let's say you want to rank, and you want to rank a page, and you just have one page you want to rank. What you want to do next is you want to start adding more supporting content. This is going to be your topically aligned supporting content. We add more and more and more and more. And what I will usually do, especially these days, is I'm using the Stealth Writer to add all this supporting content. So let's say you want to go for, let me show you an example, mold remediation, right? So this is going to be your term. What you could do is at the bottom, is you could actually see this is going to be topical authority questions, which will give you an idea of what people want to see within your content. But here we actually have supporting content. So these are questions that you might want to be writing articles about the topic. So here, how to test for mold. This could be an entire article on how to test for mold. How to prevent mold prevention. That could be another thing. What is mold and why is it so dangerous, right? So if you want to rank your main page for mold remediation, these could sometimes these will be included on that same page, but sometimes these are going to be individual articles. So I could actually go here. I could do send to Stealth Writer, and I could just have why is mold, why is it dangerous? I can have all these things. I'll remove the long one. So here we go. How to safely remove mold, how to choose mold remediation company, different types of mold. So these should all be different. Okay, common causes of mold growth, how to prevent mold. This is, yeah, okay, cool. And what I could do is I could just click create. I'm going to create 9 articles, and I click confirm. So now I'm essentially building supporting content to my main topic. So what I'm doing right now, you can see, I'm building, yeah, there you go. We are building this part right now. So in the background, as it's working, I'm building this, and then I will interlink it with our main money term. And then what's very important is you don't want to just do this and then call it a day. Like that doesn't provide the result that you're going to want. You're going to want to have this, you want to have links to your supporting content. So you want to promote your supporting content, and you want your supporting content to be good so that these get links. And as soon as these get links, that's when the magic happens. When these get links, you got to wait a bit. You have to be patient. This is how Google works. But then Google will find your link. They'll reward this page, and this page will start ranking. And then when this page starts ranking, then this is when the magic happens and your main page starts ranking as well. So that's kind of the process. And to be fair, a lot of SEOs aren't methodical or not patient enough or whatnot. But this is the process that I've used to rank for some of the most difficult terms in the world. This is essentially the way you could scale. And the harder, okay, you actually don't even need to do all of this. You can just do one, right? You can just do one supporting page and it'll be fine. But the harder the term is, you just add more supporting content. You just scale this. So let's say you have a really hard term, you just do 4. If you have a really, really, really hard term, you do 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. You just keep on adding supporting content like this until you rank, right? And then your website, let's say you have 100 supporting pages, your website ends up being huge. It ends up having tons of topical authority, and then you end up ranking like crazy. So that's essentially the way to scale in a nutshell of how this is how you build up and you scale and so forth. So hopefully that is useful. We're still creating articles. You're going to see, oh, we are 6 out of 9. We actually look at them. If ever anyone's curious, this is Stealth Writer. And we should have, there you go. We have we were doing what I preach, where you have the intro and then we have an answer. So what people are looking for is going to be this. This is the dangers of mold, health, risk, and prevention. And it answers what people want to find right here. Mold's a type of fungus and so forth. So it gives them a quick answer right here to hook people in. And then at the beginning of the session, I was telling you how the best way is going to be to hook people in and kind of have something at the fold. So now we have a unique image for you locked in at the fold right here. So here, we're 7 out of 9. I will show you in just a moment. You'd actually import all those articles. And I'll give you a link, right? I could actually literally click share. Share. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to give you a share link. So here, I'm actually going to give this to you in the chat. You could load this. We have one-click sharing. Now, I know everyone's going to be able to see this, but you have one-click sharing, and you could go and get this article. And usually your users or your writers will be able to go and kind of get access to an article, post it on your website, because ultimately Onpage is made for website users that really want to improve rankings, and also agencies that are doing this on a large scale. So this quick sharing allows you to kind of scale up, a lot quicker. Now I think it's almost done. Do we have all 9 or so? Okay, so let's say I have all of these, and I'm like, okay, now I want to put them on my website. I click download all. I'll download the article, and as I showed kind of at the beginning, we have a plugin. So actually, I want to show people. If ever you want the plugin is at the bottom of the Stealth Writer pages. Quickly transfer all your pages to the articles to WordPress. You click here. This is the plugin. You download the plugin. You install the WordPress plugin. And once you install the WordPress plugin, we got bulk import. Click here. We're going to import this article, this list. And now I have all of these articles on mold that I could put into Household or so. And I'm not going to use these. I'm not going to import these. I'm not going to use them. So if you want to use them, that's fine. I'm not going to overlap. I'm not trying to compete or do a thing on mold. This is not at all it. But this is the process, and you could import everything. Actually, I'll show you, and I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'll put them on draft, and then I will I'll delete them after, because I mean, this is a home website, so it is kind of related, but I'm not into mold or so. This is going to be cool. So now we could go. We could actually see the post. I could go all posts. And now you can see in draft, we have the article on mold. So open it, kind of go here, edit post. And now we have your mold article. Now this AI image, definitely I would remove. I would definitely not like that one. Let's go see another one. A bad example. There you go. Cool. So how to choose a mold remediation company, ultimate guide and best professional. This looks a lot better, right? So we are, essentially you get a whole bunch of articles. And now what I would usually do is I recommend people go through the article, make sure it's good. Usually these look very good right out of the gate. So let me just go. I could do a preview. Usually this looks, it looks like a really good article. I would put internal links inside pointing back to your main money page. Within this, I might have a quote or two. I make sure that the article is good. You have a nice quote here and so forth. And then I will publish this, and I'll build links to here. So that's kind of like my whole process. And with this process, honestly, I actually have a video where I posted 60 articles in under 10 minutes or something like that. It is so easy these days. And that's kind of like the power of being able to scale like that. So now I'm just going to, I'll move the articles that we had. And actually, I'm actually going through, and I've gone through a lot of stuff. If anyone is not using Onpage, I think a whole bunch of people here are already using Onpage. But if ever you're not, I actually want to let you know that the way you do it, the way you kind of jump on, you go to onpage.ai, and what you're going to want to do is you want to go click on the sign up, you put in your email, and once you have your email, you're going to want to log in. You're going to go here, log in, and you're going to have a page like this where you're going to see all the sample data. So you can see how we create stuff and samples of everything. You're going to want to click on activate your plan right here. And then you're going to be able to select a plan. So we have brand new plans. So you have either Ultimate On-Page and Stealth Writer. This is actually our most popular plan, where it gives you up to 150 articles of Stealth Writer, and it gives you the full On-Page suite. If you're an agency, we have the larger plans for 1,000 or even 2,000 articles, or even higher, depending on your growth. If you're just starting out and you just want to do on-page optimization, you just start here. But we have this new plan as well, On-Page plus Stealth Writer 30, up to 30 articles right here. This is going to be your best starting place. And if you just, or even the On-Page 100 right here, and if you just want stealth articles, like you just want the articles and nothing else, then the Stealth Writer 50, 100, and 200 are brand new plans that are just focused on articles. However, I think most people on this call, you're like, I know you're experts. You're probably going to want to do the On-Page Stealth Writer 100 or even the 150 right around here. And these are going to be your best bets in terms of just having access to absolutely all the tools, being able to optimize and everything. So I've had, in fact, let me show you. This is, this is like, remember, this is not like a promo, but we actually had older plans. And I just want to emphasize how crazy of, like, these plans are ridiculously good right now. But we had older plans. And this is all the stuff that you get inside Onpage. I didn't even have time to go through all the stuff that you get inside Onpage, but these are the older plans that just, was it like 2 weeks ago, we have Advanced Plus, where Advanced Plus, you would get, was it like 50 articles? And now with the new plans, the Advanced, for $3.99, you're getting 100 articles. So we just doubled the articles that you're getting with this one. And here, the Create 100 went from 100 for $4.99 to $4.99 for 150. And here with the Stealth Writer 1,000 and 2,000, if you look, we're actually basically doubling the articles that you're getting. It's crazy. So what you can do, if you have any plan, you could actually switch, and we have prorated changes. So if ever you do have a plan, you're like, oh, I want to upgrade my plan, you could just click on Activate and Upgrade Plan, and it'll calculate the difference between your existing plan and your and your current plan. So you don't lose anything, you just upgrade. So we calculate, if you're mid-month and you upgrade to a bigger plan, you're just going to get more credits, and it'll calculate the difference instead of recharging you over. So anyone that wants to hop on to a newer plan, like, now's a great time to do it. You just hop onto a newer plan, lock in your price, and have one of these one of these plans that you create a whole bunch of articles. Charlotte asks, and this is a great question, how many articles per month should you be posting for one single site? And that really depends on your website. So when I go back to here, let me show you, what is it, the amazing home decor here. Here I just posted, I'll give you a perfect example. It depends how often you're doing. Here I just posted about 60 articles very recently. So 60 articles very recently, and the website liked it because the website already has something like 250 articles or so. So we added 60 to 250. If you have a brand new site, you maybe want to take it easy, right? You want to scale. If you have a website that has 1,000 articles, then adding an extra 50 doesn't make, it's normal, right? What I recommend people do, honestly, is going to be is basically schedule the articles so Google gets used to posting, and Google gets used to crawling your website. So Google will learn the post rate of your website. So if you post one article per day, Google will learn after a while that you are posting one article per day, and it'll come back to your website and crawl it more regularly, probably on a daily basis. If you post one article every single month, it'll learn one article per month, and so forth. So one of the easy ways is just to train Google. And inside, when you're posting things, let me go here, you could actually go and you could schedule things. So I could actually, edit here. And I should have done quick edit, but publish, instead of publish immediately, what you could do is you could schedule a time. You say, okay, I want to post it, on this day at this time, and you can just schedule things over and over again. So that's usually what I'm going to recommend people do, is just schedule your posts. I typically will put out quite a few. I'm doing a lot of volume. It's not uncommon for me to do 100 posts on a website. It's not uncommon for me to do 60 posts on a website. But what you do need to kind of keep in mind, that these posts, and I kind of go back to the start, or where we were, is that these posts on their own, usually they want links. So if you just post like 100 pages, you're probably gonna, something is probably gonna happen if you just put 100 pages. But it's better to be able to have high quality pages that do attract links, and that's when you really see the impact. So you want to get a fine balance. Hopefully this is good. Okay, what Jim Mike asks, what's the difference between the stealth writer and the stealth AI writer? Stealth AI writer is the same thing. The stealth writer is the stealth AI writer. We have a few things inside. We have the stealth AI writer here. Maybe you're seeing the stealth rewriter. So stealth rewriter, what this says is it applies our stealth technology, and you put in text on the left-hand side. Let me show you. It'll put text that is detected on the AI, like AI detected text on the left-hand side. You click stealth rewrite, and it'll rewrite it, and it creates a unique article or unique text, and it makes it past our AI detection. So this has actually been, some people have been saying that this is like the world's best spinner. It was never intended to be a text spinner, but you could actually put an article here that's, and then get a unique article on the right-hand side that passes AI detection. Anyways, this is not kind of like the main focus. Usually people are going to be using the stealth AI writer. And if you are using it, let me just share the best settings. You're going to want to click options. You're going to want to make sure you get AI image, so you get that inside. If you are doing a local website, make sure to click on force local. You can actually put in your local websites. This is, I'm a plumbing.ca or something, and you write local plumber, and then you say plumbing Montreal or something, and you click on force local. It'll crawl your website, it'll learn about your website, and it'll start implementing some of that copy and some of your services, some of your story inside the article to promote your article when it writes it. So that's kind of like a thing if you're doing local. But if you're not, it'll auto detect and do all that. So okay, I guess we're still in the ranking. Can the supporting page link to more than one main content? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Whenever I'm doing, this is just for simple demonstration purposes, but supporting content, you could have tons of links. You could have like 10, 20 links pointing to all kinds of content. That's internal linking is, there's no like big limit on internal linking. Make it reasonable, make it good for your users, but definitely point to many places. Can it write on weight loss content? Yeah, of course it can write on weight loss content. So the way the stealth writer works, I didn't have time to really kind of go over, but the stealth writer will go out and research your topic before it writes about it. So let's say I say weight loss for men over 50 or something like that. What it's going to do, I'll do this now. Why not? Cool. So what it's going to do, and actually I'm going to dive in, is going to go out and research the topic beforehand. I wonder if I have it where I explain how it does that, but trying to go through my things here. No. Okay, so let me kind of explain what it's doing right now. So I could even go through the process. Do we have it? No, I have a whole bunch of slides. I'm sure I have somewhere where I explain how it crawls and how there's a self-learning mechanism that is involved. No. Okay, I don't know. Okay, cool. Well, let me explain it to you. So what happens is right now the system is looking for weight loss for men over 50. The first thing it does is it figures out the user intent. What do people want to find when people are typing in weight loss for men over 50? The next thing it is going to do is going to go and is going to start doing research. So it'll look up the term. They'll say, okay, cool. What are people ranking for weight loss for men over 50? That's cool. It'll look at what's ranking, what people are writing about, but then it goes out and figures out advanced things to better, like it'll learn about weight loss facts. It'll learn about the weight loss topic, weight loss facts. It'll look up articles on weight loss, and it determines, it learns about the topic essentially. So weight loss myths or so. It'll learn about this. And it goes out and it does a whole bunch of searches, tons and tons of searches. We do over 100,000 words of searches learning about your topic. So it'll go out and it'll learn about your topic. And once it learns about your topic, that's when it's going to put everything together and it's going to synthesize news facts. So it won't just copy paste. It won't just say, okay, well, we found this here. Let's just put it in the article. No, it'll learn all of this stuff. Then it'll go and combine and make new facts and new content out of that. And then you're going to get your article right here. So then this is kind of like the product of it being researched, and then you having basically an article that is designed for you on weight loss for men over 50. And of course, we make sure it passes RAI detection. We make sure it is optimized for rankings. And this is going to be kind of a complete article. Like, okay, so what are some common health challenges faced by men over 50? This is designed to grab people and to hook them into your content. It's designed to rank as well. So one of the things you'll notice here is this is not a cookie cutter table of content. It's not a table of content with like 40 different items with like a conclusion and FAQ at the bottom. This is essentially a real article as a writer would write it on the topic of like weight loss for men over 50. And you kind of scroll through and you're going to get, see here it's talking about metabolic changes, age-related metabolic changes. This is research that it found on the topic, and this is why it's writing about it, instead of just saying, what is weight loss, you know, how to do weight loss and all that, all the generic stuff that you're going to find in a lot of other writers. So this is essentially the Stealth Writer. I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. If ever you have any questions, you could always email the team. Let me show you the, you know, onpage.team@AI, and we have the email team@onpage, on-page.ai. Happy to talk to you. There you go. So if you're not already subscribed, I highly recommend you do right now. Thank you everyone for attending, especially this last minute call. I think I went through way more than I thought. Hopefully this was useful. Went over core updates. We went over ranking techniques. We looked at websites. We created articles. Went over optimization. I gave you all these crazy little tricks and case study results. Thank you very much for attending. Happy rankings. And I will be looking for you inside Onpage. Hopefully you're going to join me there. We're always improving things. And this is actually best time to join. Like, seriously, if you're on the fence, we just changed our plans. We're giving you essentially tons of articles. And the case studies that we're testing this stuff on is working really well. So this is going to be the best time to kind of hop in. My name is Eric Lanchers. Thank you for being on the call. And I will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys. Ciao.